Alicia Gray is having a word with someone in the crowd, and now security is also involved.
Well, looks like that fan is being...
Alicia Gray of the Atlanta Dream pointed at an Indiana Fever fan, sparking claims that quickly unraveled when the details didn't add up. Security rushed in, confusion spread, and the Dream scrambled to explain the mess with conflicting stories. Meanwhile, the Fever stayed locked in on the court, ending their playoff drought in front of a roaring home crowd. The contrast couldn't have been sharper. One side tangled in drama, the other rewriting history on the scoreboard. Embarrassing for the Dream, electric for the Fever, and the perfect setup for a must-watch Game 3. If you're riding with the Fever, drop a comment.
WNBA
I've got the
does
Fever.
not appreciate fans, don't want us there. We have been thrown out of games for a multitude of ridiculous things. We have watched these players complain and trash us all. They called half of us racist. They've called all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Now, without Caitlin Clark, the viewership has been cut in half by 50%. 50% for the playoffs. For the playoffs, y'all. And they still are getting fans thrown out of games.
What exactly did Alicia Gray think she heard from the crowd that night? And why did it spiral into such chaos? That's the part no one can quite pin down. Almost the moment she gestured toward the Indiana section, the story splintered. On live TV, cameras caught her turning, pointing, and signaling for security. A few stunned fans stood as staff escorted them out, while the broadcast quickly cut away. For a second, it felt like something serious had gone down. An accusation that bold, in the middle of a playoff game, set a narrative Atlanta clearly wanted to drive. Their star had been disrespected, their team wronged, and suddenly the spotlight shifted. Not on the scoreboard.
Out last night against the Indiana Fever, only for the fan to speak their piece to the security. Security found out, oh, you didn't say anything at all, actually. Yeah, come back to your seat. Let me just wipe that seat off for you. Here, please, have a seat, ma'am. Alicia Gray played like absolute you-know-what last night and decided to take it out on a fan.
At first glance, it seemed like this had to be about an outrageous comment, something so out of bounds that removal was the only option. But by the next day, the story fractured. Different outlets painted completely different pictures. Some brushed it off as harmless heckling, the kind athletes hear every night. Others hinted at something more personal and serious, though without ever clarifying what was said. That contrast raised eyebrows immediately. If fans are going to be pulled from a playoff game, shouldn't the explanation be consistent? Instead, what emerged was a messy patchwork of conflicting accounts. None of them matched.
By the way, security brought this couple back in and apologized to them. All right? They removed the couple because they do it to let the players calm down, because it's clear these players aren't professionals. Here's what you owe us. You owe us at this point. Stop it. Stop it. So, she's now fully been exposed.
Eyewitness accounts soon began to surface, and that's when cracks appeared in Gray's version of events. One fan seated nearby recalled the comment word for word. "You're good, Lex. She's not even trying anymore." A cheer of encouragement for Lexi Hull, not a jab at Gray. Nothing vulgar. Nothing threatening. Just standard sports banter. Yet that harmless line somehow escalated into player frustration, a call for security, and paying fans being escorted out of the arena. If that doesn't sound like a stretch, what does?
Count of the situation. The guy in the black hat yelled to Lexi, who was running to guard Gray, and said, quote, "You're good, Lex. She's not even trying anymore." Gray lost her shit and said some very nasty words to the guy and the people next to him, because he said she's not even trying anymore. She can't handle that kind of heckling. Are you kidding me? Quit sports. today.
And this is where the narrative completely unraveled. The fans who were escorted out, they didn't stay gone. Reports confirmed they were back in their seats later that very game, a clear sign of how minor the offense really was. If something serious had been said, security doesn't hand out a timeout and send you right back courtside. By the end of the night, the optics were undeniable. This wasn't about unruly fans. It was about a player struggling to handle routine home court heckling in the middle of a blowout.
Not saying anything out of line whatsoever. They were let back in shortly after. When asked what happened, he said that they said it was protocol to remove the fan to allow the player to calm down. I mean, all these players ought to be playing in bozo outfits. Gray had a bad night, and there is no excuse for the things she said or the way she acted.
On social media, the story caught fire instantly. Clips of ejection spread fast, while the words Gray allegedly heard were picked apart from every angle. Post-game chatter only highlighted how little sense it made. Fans pointed out contradictions. Commentators called it baffling. By Monday morning, the consensus was clear. This wasn't a serious incident at all, but a flimsy narrative meant to deflect from the Dream's poor performance.
Of course, after the fake hoax of early this year with Angel Reese, Angel Smollett, some people are calling her. The fake race hoax, people were saying, "Oh my gosh, those Indiana Fever fans. What could they have possibly said?" And the rumor mill starts going, and the rumor mill starts going, and the rumor mill starts going.
Step back, and the whole episode backfired on Atlanta. The lie, as fans began calling it, never stuck. Instead of rallying sympathy, it only made the Dream look shaken, while the Fever came off tougher, sharper, and more locked in than ever. Gray may have been pointing at the stands, but Indiana was pointing at the scoreboard, and what they put up was nothing short of historic.
Players, you guys are not ready for the big lights. You're not ready for the big lights. You're not ready. I could look you in your eyes and see you're not ready. Y'all can't handle people showing up to games. Y'all can't handle people actually being an interested, invested fan.
With 5 players in street clothes, how did Indiana still look sharper, hungrier, and more connected than the Dream? That's what shocked so many people. Caitlin Clark was out for the season. Sophie Cunningham couldn't go. Sydney Carlson and Chloe BBY were sidelined, and Ari McDonald was unavailable too. That's a huge chunk of the rotation gone, including the very star who brought national spotlight and transformed ticket sales for the league. For most teams, losing that much talent in a must-win game would crush morale. For Indiana,
I know there's nothing like playoff basketball in Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
We come to you from Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, the first home playoff game for the Fever since 2016. Need to win this to force a decisive Game 3.
think about the pressure for a moment. Game 1 had already slipped away in Atlanta, which made Game 2 at Gainbridge a must-win do or die. On top of that, this was the Fever's first home playoff game since 2016. Back then, Tamika Catchings was still on the floor and Stephanie White was drawing up plays. Nearly a decade later, the postseason finally returned to Indianapolis only for the team to lose its biggest star. The tension was undeniable. Yet when the ball tipped, Indiana's roster responded.
Bow, bow, bow! Let's go! Fever! Go Fever!
Let's go, Fever! Fever 3!
Let's go! Playoff, baby! This is the reason! This is our season! Return up time! Indiana Fever! That time we on the map! Let's go!
The atmosphere inside Gainbridge matched the stakes. Red, now you know, shirts flooded the lower bowl, and the noise carried the weight of a city desperate to make up for lost years. The crowd didn't just clap at big plays, they roared through defensive stands, erupted on hustle moments, and carried themselves like a true sixth player. For a team short on depth, that energy became the difference. Even during shoot-around, Coach White had set the tone. There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times.
Desperation that has to come with how you play every possession. I didn't feel like in game one we played with that desperate mentality that we needed, particularly when you look at 50-50 balls, when you look at how many times, we didn't get inside the three-point line for a defensive rebound and the ball hit the floor and they were able to get it. There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times. We didn't have that consistently for 40 minutes in game one. I expect us to have it here tonight.
This wasn't just talk. After calling out the lack of intensity in game one, Coach White's message landed. From the opening tip, Indiana's energy was undeniable. They gave the refs nothing to influence. Rotations were sharper, box outs were stronger, ball movement was quicker. No one waited for a hero. The team decided it would take all of them. And then there was Caitlin on the bench smiling, cheering, rising to her feet on every defensive stop. Instead of dwelling on what they'd lost, the Fever fed off her energy and carried it onto the floor.
Backing down Jones, post moves, banks it in, bow, bow, bow. Underway, it's 2-0 Fever through the first 20 seconds.
Bree Jones, so crafty around the bucket, good footwork, little fadeaway there.
First bucket for Kelsey Mitchell, who's having a spectacular season.
Powers muscling it up, good, and one. There's the energy off the bench from Ariel Powers as she flexes.
That's how Indiana turned what could have been a season-ending blow into one of the most uplifting nights in franchise history. It stopped being about who wasn't there and became about who was willing to step up. That resilience set the stage for the best part. The way they're
very reactive on defense right now. They are not dictating the way that we saw them in game one, and credit the Fever for their level of aggressiveness.
Mitchell whips a pass, left block, Turner, extra, Tosh puts it in. Mitchell from the logo, pulls, top of the arc three. Got it!
The exact moment the Fever slammed the door on Atlanta came late in the third quarter, and if you weren't locked in, you might have mistaken it for a routine sequence. It began with Aaliyah Boston bullying her way inside, powering to a post bucket that showed she could own a possession whenever she wanted. Before Atlanta could even regroup, Shaw Petty jumped a passing lane and ripped away a steal, flipping the energy in the arena. Seconds later, with the quarter winding down, Lexi Hull let fly from deep. Buzzer.
Splash.
The crowd detonated. In that instant, the tone of the game shifted for good.
Boston going to work, scores off the backboard. 8 seconds left in the third. Fever by a dozen. Dallas steal in the backcourt. Mitchell in the corner, guarded by Gray. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull, left wing, fires a three. Good! Hull hits with 0.3 to go in the third. Woo! Atlanta inbounds. That's it for the period. And the Fever are fired up. 59-44 with 10 minutes to play.
What had been a tense back and forth suddenly tilted one way, and Atlanta never recovered. Up to that point, the Dream were hanging around, keeping the margin within single digits, while Indiana's effort still looked vulnerable. All Atlanta needed was one small run to close the gap. Instead, that third quarter burst crushed their hope, handed the Fever full momentum, and pumped the home crowd with a surge of adrenaline that carried straight into the fourth. It was the kind of stretch you circle after a game not just for the points, but for the energy it unleashed. From there, Indiana refused to ease up. Kelsey Mitchell took over, dropping 9 points and burying 4 threes that
her in their half-court sets so far to just take open drive to the rim. There's the three.
And fans didn't appreciate how good Kelsey Mitchell is, and they're certainly getting an eyeful this year. Here she goes. She's guarded by Petty, takes it right to the basket and misses. It's a hit for Mitchell.
Beside her, Aaliyah Boston brought steady balance, 5 points, 5 rebounds, and a calming presence on both ends. She didn't need flash to make her impact felt. Every time Indiana
Stephanie White wants to see her go downhill, be more aggressive offensively. This is a great matchup. Boston against Jones.
Just a fun matchup between two Big post with size, with good anything.
Boston up, under, and in.
Natasha Howard may not have filled the box score, finishing with just 2 points, but her two-way impact was undeniable. On defense, she
around that 40% mark. They didn't hit that in game one, and that's a good way to go for Natasha Howard. Gray goes down. What is she? Good patience by Howard. Mitchell bounce pass. Natasha Howard, and it rolls in.
Howard has had great activity tonight.
And then there was Lexi Hull, who did far more than just drain that buzzer beater. She brought relentless energy, hounded Gray on defense, dove for loose balls, and stretched the floor.
Got a size advantage on Jordan Canada, so she can use her length, even though Jordan Canada has the advantage in quickness.
Terrific cut by Hull and a good find. Good shot there by Pow Pow. You never think it's the youngest player on the team that gets you settled in on offense. But they're not getting the stops you asked about.
And don't overlook rookie Michaela Timpson. In limited minutes, she delivered 9 crucial points with composure well beyond her years, the kind of lift you almost never get from a first.
Middle of the paint, Timpson pivoting, Timpson around the defender, shot, good, and one! And this one was worth the wait. Final score, Fever 77, Dreams 60. And we will talk to you on Thursday night in Atlanta.
But it was the defense that sealed it. Atlanta, a team used to putting up much bigger numbers, was held to just 60 points. They shot under 38% from the field and a brutal 5 for 29 from deep. Indiana tightened the screws possession by possession, contesting shots, finishing plays with strong box outs, and limiting the Dream to only 10 free throws all night. Every role player bought in. Aerial Powers used her size to disrupt Atlanta's wings, while Brianna Turner battled in the trenches to shut down the paint. It was the definition of a team effort, nobody relaxing, nobody looking for shortcuts.
That was a masterclass on the defensive end of the court. Hell yeah, ladies, hell yeah. It really was. It really was. I mean, I'm so proud of you. Stepped up to the challenge, back against the wall, and our back is against the wall every fucking game. Come on. But y'all, look, I'm proud of you. We ain't finished though, right? We ain't finished. KK, way to be ready. Yeah! The second half, your aggressiveness, it was a difference maker. What it opens up with the gravity that you create is huge for us. You gotta stay aggressive. Hell yeah, Reese.
Afterward, Boston pointed to the hustle plays as the difference, while Mitchell credited the electricity of the crowd after that third-quarter surge. Their words echoed what everyone had just witnessed, a unified group meeting adversity with toughness. By the final horn, the scoreboard told the full story, 77-60. Indiana wasn't just surviving without its stars, it was thriving. Now the question shifts to Atlanta. Can this same balance and intensity travel for Game 3? The Fever just proved they can win without Caitlin Clark, but can they do it again when the environment flips? Game 3 isn't just another playoff game, it's survival. 40 minutes will decide it all. One team advances to face Las Vegas or Seattle. The other is left to wonder how it slipped away so fast. In a game where every possession matters, the stakes couldn't be higher.
Steph holding them to 60 points today. What did you see that was so effective from you guys defensively and really turned this game?
I mean, our aggressiveness, our attention to detail, our ability to contest without fouling, to be disciplined, in that area, I thought was huge. We played good enough defense down there, and our offense just couldn't get going, and we were able to get it going on both sides tonight. I continue to just be so proud of this group and their resilience, their toughness, and their ability to respond.
For Indiana, the challenge now only grows. Atlanta just turned in one of their worst performances of the season, 60 points on 37.9% shooting and a rough 5 for 19 from deep. You can bet they'll come into their own arena determined to erase that memory. Desperation is the natural response to a blowout, and with a home crowd eager to push them forward, the Dream will be far more aggressive in Game 3. How does Indiana handle it? By bringing back that same suffocating defense. The assignment is clear. contain Ryan Howard and Alisha Gray the way they did in Game 2, when the duo was held to just 9 combined points a shadow of their Game 1 production. Without those buckets, Atlanta never found a rhythm, and Indiana never let them back in. Replicating that defensive effort isn't just
going into a do-or-die Game 3. What excites you about that opportunity as a competitor?
I think it would be a really good challenge for us. I think, obviously we want to win a game and they want to win a game, so I think somebody has to lose and somebody has to win, obviously. But I think that we take tonight for what it is and start mentally preparing once it hit 12 o'clock and being able to go into what's important for Thursday. And so, like I said, it's a big opportunity tonight, but you got to let it be the moment and let it kind of fuel you for Thursday, but you got to move on.
Matchups will decide everything. Kelsey Mitchell must keep her rhythm against a perimeter defense certain to hound her harder. Aaliyah Boston faces another brutal test inside, with Atlanta likely feeding their bigs to draw her into foul trouble. And then there's Michaela Timpson. If her 9-point spark in Game 2 wasn't a fluke, another display of rookie composure could tilt the balance again, but the real question is energy. With Clark, Cunningham, and others out, Indiana has no margin to pace themselves. Can this short-handed roster really push for a full 40 minutes in a hostile arena? The answer may lie in the X Factors Lexi Hull's timely shooting, Natasha Howard's two-way grind, and Ariel Powers' defensive edge. Any one of them could swing the night. Game 3 isn't just about advancing. It's about rewriting perception, shedding the rebuilding project label, and staking a claim as a legitimate contender. No matter the outcome, this moment stretches forward, a testament to the adversity this team has already.
How much does a win like this give you guys confidence that you can close out the series in a tough situation on the road?
Yeah, I think that this is a group that's confidence has really never wavered. We've been in every kind of situation you can imagine, and we've been able to find ways to put ourselves in position to win, and this will be no different. Obviously, it's going to be on the opponent's home floor, but it doesn't matter. I think for us, our if we maintain our attention to detail, if we continue the defensive effort that we had tonight, and we shoot with confidence, we give ourselves a chance. And this group is continued to show their heart, their character, night in and night out.
Alisha Gray's dust up with the crowd won't be what history remembers. What will stick is Indiana flipping a season full of setbacks into their first playoff win in nearly a decade. That's the story fans will carry forward. The Fever have already proven they can withstand injuries and still look like a serious playoff threat. Now imagine this same group in 2026 with Caitlin Clark back healthy, paired with Boston, Mitchell, Hull, and a deeper bench. Game 3 is more than just a decider. It's a chance to push into round 2, make history again, and remind everyone of the simplest truth in basketball: the scoreboard never lies. If you've got the fever, drop it in the comments. I've got the fever. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment.